Yes, good morning. Well, one traditional aspiration for many people is getting a foot on the housing ladder. But with the increasing pressure on the market and a growing housing crisis, what's the best way to try and solve it? Well, one idea is to convert office blocks and create small modular buildings for rental operated on a community basis. Well, Richard Meier is chairman of the Urban Land Institute's Residential Council. He joins me now to discuss this. So, Richard, the basic idea then is that building for rental is a potential solution to the housing shortage, but it's a particular type of rental, isn't it? Tell us a little bit more.
Yes, so today we're publishing a guide, the Urban Land Institute, which is where many people involved in the Urban Land Institute, almost 40,000 people, are able to pull upon the expertise and focus on what in the UK we need for rental housing. And what's the difference? Well, the difference is it's purpose-built and designed for long-term rental. It's all about professional service. It's invested in by institutional investors. So it's a very different piece to your rogue landlord, your buy-to-let landlord who owns one or two properties. And that will make a very different product, a very different experience for the 9 million renters, the people in our country today.
It sounds good. I know there's already pension fund money going into things like this, isn't it? Because the investors view this as a way of getting some sort of stable return on their money. But you can only build where there's space. And a lot of the problem where you get these housing bubbles is there's just not the space to build or the planning restrictions. How do you get around that? That doesn't solve that problem, does it?
On the other hand, well, it does solve the problem in many ways because there are always challenges around accessibility to land. But what this is about people partnering. This is about investors partnering with local authorities, other people who have land at the moment, to bring forward a product which is a very different product because it's all about the customer experience and professional and a really professional set of standards.
Do any of these sort of buildings currently exist? I mean, how far away is this?
It's certainly happening now. So I work for a company called Argent. We're in partnership with a US company called Related. 55,000 homes they've built, own and manage in the US. And here we have a pipeline of 10,000 homes, and many of those will be rental housing, the purpose-built rental housing. And today, if we were to look outside, we would see that from the middle of this year, there are a number of schemes in London and in the regions that are coming.
But we have to change our attitude towards renting, don't we? I mean, people view that as really a sort of poor relative to owning a home. We just have to face facts, right? We can't afford to buy houses. There's a whole generation that can't.
Yes, I think many people just ideally, well, in many ways, they may well have to rent for longer than they currently do, and some people will never actually necessarily own a home, and so that's why we need to make the offer better for them. And indeed, renting does have many positives as well. There is greater mobility. You can live in places that you might not otherwise be able to do, and it plays in a bit more into how younger generations want to live their lives.
Okay, interesting concept. Thank you very much, Richard Meier. That is it from me. Let's go back to the main studio.